Hi and welcome to this video. I hope you can hear me over the engine. Today we're going to do a service on a Kia Soul. This is a 1.6 Petrol, 125 brake version. Okay, so to start with, what we need to do is let the engine run. This will get the oil to temperature, a lot thinner, and it should flow out better when we take the sun plug out, which I think on this one is underneath on the driver's side, UK. Because it's not a nut that faces left or right, straightforward, it shouldn't matter too much which way, which side we jack the car up. So what we're doing now is let the car warm up a little bit longer because it's quite cold today, and then I will bring you back. Okay, so first things first, when the engine's turned off, we need to disconnect the battery. Now this just lifts up, and then you should see the clip underneath, and just undo that nut and take it off. Okay, so the car's now jacked up. Don't forget the axle stand because it's important if the jack ever fails. It doesn't need to be too high, just enough to get the bucket under, which I've got one here. Which under there. It's a little bit dark. There we go, so that fits under there quite nicely, and there's the plug. So what I'm going to do now is undo that nut and let the oil drain out. Ooh, that was untight. Okay, so this is a 17mm, by the way. It's a good idea then to an extension bar and then get the bucket over the top, and then as you turn this, try and whip it away as quick as you can without getting oil everywhere. Like so. Up to one side. So while it's draining, we'll work on something at the top. Okay, so that's the new air filter there, and that is the air box there. Now to change this, just a few clips on there. Where's the other one's gone? One at the side. I'm sure there's one more. Oh no, just the two on this one. So you lift it up from that side, and it's just two clips, and that lifts up. It's hard to do with one hand, but there's a new filter, so just reach out and pull that one out. Oh, it's airtight. There we go. And that's the old one. Not that bad, a little bit mucky, but seen worse. So yep, that can go in the bin. It's a good idea as well just to look in the box and make sure there's nothing, no other debris in there. If there is, you vacuum it out or pull it out with your hands. But that one looks all good. So now we'll put the new one back in. So as you bring it back, make sure that the clip goes under there, and one on this side. It's hard to get a camera in, it's just under that wire there, but that goes in first, and then that clips down, and then you can put those metal clips back in place. Let's do spark plugs next. So what we want to do first is take these four nuts off, and we'll be able to see the plugs under this. It's a good idea to use a short extension bar as well. So these are a 10mm, and should come off quite easy. Oh, something I've forgotten as well. When you drain the plug, don't forget to take this cap off, as it will make the oil drain a lot smoother. Which I've just forgotten to do, which I'm going to do now. And this should just then lift up. So we just need to undo these 10mm nuts, and when they've done, these should just then lift straight up. Okay, so starting one at a time, either left to right or right to left, your choice. So these should lift up with a bit of a wiggle. It's a good idea to disconnect these as well, as then you've got a bit more wiggle room if you need to. think we'll get away with these because they're a little bit longer, but definitely this one. And then put that on there. Try not to damage these, by the way, when you take them out, which is also a good idea to do one at a time. So then in there, camera, you can then see the spark plug, and we can take that out. So as I say, that's why it's a good idea to do one at a time, because quite a few little bits need to be done to get to them. So I'm just going to do that and do the rest. Good idea as well when they come out just to inspect them, make sure they're not too oily or too black, which that one looks good. So I'll pop the new one in and do the rest. These do come pre-caps, so no need to test them unless you do hit them. You're getting them back in there, in which case you will have to recap them. So let's try not to do that. Why it's a good idea as well to use a good spark plug tool to make sure that it grips the spark plug, because if it drops, then as I say, it will bang on the head and that will reduce the gap of the spark plug. Okay, that's one done. Put that back in there. And on with the next one. So all the plugs have been done, I just need to put these bits back. So again, start with that longest one. Make sure the wiring harness is all tidy and everything's down and connected. Okay, so that's the wiring in, and little screws. Okay, so these don't need to be tight, you just need to nip, otherwise you risk cracking the plastic housing on these, which you definitely don't want to do. Okay, so they're all in and done. And this plate can then go back on top, and these back in. There we go, and that's all done. Okay, so that's everything on top done. Air filter, plugs. Next, we finish and drain the oil, and we've got the oil filter to do. So that's back under the car. Okay, while that's finishing draining, next thing to do is this filter. Now this should be hand tight, so I'm just going to have a quick look. So, now they do have a habit of becoming really solid. So if you can't open it, then you can use one of these tools. These are quite good. As you turn that, it clamps and you can turn it. Okay, so as you tighten it, it should. There you go. Wonderful bit of kit. Again, this is going to drain oil everywhere, so you want to get it so it covers this and covers this if you can. Nope, it got me. Lovely. What we'll do now is that's finished dripping. We'll put the sump plug back in. Fairly clean. That now can be tightened up. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll give that a helping hand to clean all around there, because you don't want oil dripping everywhere. There we go, a bit tidier now. So there's a new oil filter. Now there's two ways you can do this. It all depends on which way the oil filter is mounted to your engine. If it's that way, to the side, as some are, obviously you can't do this because when you turn it, oil will fill out. But on this one and one or two others, it's mounted straight like that. So the idea is that you take some oil, put it around the seam. This should help it stop seizing, so next time you can get it off. But also the idea is to fill this full of new oil. This will help circulate the oil when you start the engine as opposed to it being dry. Now, as I say, if it's mounted that way, you can fill it with oil and it helps it. If it's that way, as I say, you can't really do it because the oil will fall out. But there's another way you can do it, but obviously if you're watching this video for this car, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, let's get some new oil and put some in. Okay, so let's be very careful with this. So pour a little bit in there. That one not going in. Pour a little bit in. There we go. That's sinking. Okay, so now that's full, we'll just dip a little bit, settle down as well, so it's not as full now. Get some oil and put it around the rubber seal. Should help make the seal a lot tighter as well, so you shouldn't get any leaks. Move that out of the way. Now this is ready to go back on. Okay, so when that's on, you don't need a tool to tighten it, it's hand tight only. It is hard to get your fingers behind there, but just try and get it as tight as you can without overdoing it. That's not going anywhere. And we're all done. Okay, so once that's done, we can now lower the car back to the ground. As I say, just make sure that everything's tight under there and you shouldn't have to go under again. So we'll lower the car now and we'll continue. So once the car's lowered, give the dipstick a wipe, which shows no oil on it, and then we can put the oil in. Take one of these, as it will help. And then take your new oil. I've gone for the 530, as this one meets OEM spec. And slowly start pouring it in. Now this engine doesn't actually take that much at all, it's about 3 litres. It's about 1 litre in now. Let's put a little bit more in. Give all that a minute just to sink to the bottom. Okay, once you put a litre or so in, it's a good idea just to check underneath, it's not leaking out anywhere, that everything is fastened and secure. Good thing to do is, when that's drained, make its way to the bottom, is keep pushing the dipstick in. What we're looking for is a reading on the dipstick. So as you can see there, I've overfilled it, but it's no problem. You can see there. It's just slightly over, but what we're going to do, back in. So what we're going to do is, it doesn't matter if you slightly overfill it at this point. We'll put everything back, put the battery back together. When you start the car, obviously it will pump the oil around the engine, and that level should drop. Also, I'm not on a flat surface, so it's a good idea that if you are on an uneven surface, at this point when you start it, move it to a flat surface so we can continue with this and get a better reading. So, do now, let's put that cap back on. And put the battery back on. So don't worry if you overfill it after you've done this. There are ways to drain a section of fuel out. One way is to release the sump plug. Just undo it and get it to where it drops a little bit out. Don't take it completely out. And then obviously that will release a little bit of oil back into your tub and will lower the level in the engine. Okay, so once everything's back together, caps on and everything, what we're going to do is start the car and literally for about 10 seconds turn it off, because if you leave it run too long the engine will splatter all over the engine and it will take a while for it to settle back. What we want is the oil to settle back to the bottom in the sump, because if it's all splattered around the engine you might think it's okay reading, but once it settles again that level obviously then will become higher. So just for 10 seconds or so and then can turn the engine off. So when you start the car, if it sounds a bit tickety, not to worry, within a few seconds it should disappear as the oil gets pumped around. If your oil light doesn't go out after a few seconds, turn the engine off, recheck everything, try it again, but hopefully that light will go out. It shouldn't sound ticky and it should sound quite smooth, as that did. So now what we're going to do is give it a minute, let all the oil settle back down and see what reading we're on. Okay, so that's just under full now, so that's good. So yep, all good, all changed. Okay, so I hope that's been some use for you. I say, if it's just below full, that's fine. If it's over, you best taking some out. So what you want to do is give it a fair few hours, park it somewhere, I say flat, and check the oil level. If it's under full, then you're fine. If it's over, I say we'll need to take some out, but you're always best with it being slightly under than slightly over, as it's there for a reason. So yeah, once it's settled, if you need to put some more in and it's gone down to half or whatever, you say put some more in, and so as long as it's under. So yeah, I hope that's been some use. It's quite wet here, so I hope this video has been okay. Now the next thing is not, you don't have to do it. The next thing I've got is the cabin air filter, which I've got right here. So this is optional whether you want to do this or not. If you do, then I'll do this little video at the end. If not, then I hope it's been useful. So the cabin air filter located in the car, passenger side, behind the glove box. So let's do that now. The glove box, obviously just going to open that, ignore all my wife's rubbish. But the screws, one there, one there, one there, one there, oh, sorry, one there, and two underneath. As I say, not the best weather to do this in. It's much easier through the passenger side door, but as it's raining so much, I'm going to do it this way. So don't worry if they don't come all the way out, as long as the screws are out, then it should just pull out. So before I forget to mention as well, there's also one screw right at the back behind here, so don't forget about that one. Oh, there we go. So as you can see, it's at the bottom, got one screw that goes through there, one screw that goes through there, and some little holes which some plastic nibs just go through to hold it in place. So that can then be put down there the way. Okay, so with that out, you can now see behind the glove box area. So what we need to be is right here, little clip, and that's where the air filter goes. So that just pulls out and swings downwards. Whoa, lots of stuff in there. Move this out of the way. Don't think this has been done for a while. Yeah, lovely. So, I might have to back up when we're done. So what we need to do is literally hold it and pull it out. Can't do it with one hand. Yeah, this thing's hopefully this has been changed for a while. Should wiggle free. Oh, that thing's yucky. So that just pops back in. Okay, so I'm wiggling later and it's in. That just clips back. Okay, done. And we're sorted. So last thing to do, pull this back. And yeah, that's it, that's all back together. So I hope that last bit was clear enough. The battery's running quite low, so I had to make it rather quick. So yeah, that is a full service. There's no fuel filter on these as it's an in-tank filter and it's a lifetime filter. So it doesn't need to be replaced unless you have an actual issue. So yeah, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. As I say before, I hope it's been some use. I know it's not been the best, the weather's been absolutely awful. As I say, when you do the cabin air filter, it's best to do it from the passenger side, as yeah, you need to be a contortionist to do it from the driver's side, although it is possible. So yeah, leave any comments down below, like, dislike, whichever you want. Yeah, let me know how I'm doing, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one, hopefully with better weather.